Everyone, and welcome to the McCray Growth Challenge podcast, Insight with B2B and manufacturing leaders, where we uncover their stories, strategies, and solutions to overcoming growth challenges in their industries. I'm your host, Maria, and in each episode, we will dive deep in with founders, CEOs, and industry experts to explore how they scale, innovate, and lead in today's competitive landscape. So let's get started. Today we have Gretchen from AT Sensors. Nice to have you. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Awesome. So Gretchen, why don't you introduce yourself, your role, and AT Sensors. Tell us a little bit about what is it that you guys do.
Sure. So AT Sensors was founded in the late 90s in Germany. They started doing systems integration for various companies in Germany. Over the several years, developed their own components for 3D laser triangulation and also thermal measurements. And in the last few years, transitioned to just being a component supplier. We opened our office just north of Boston in the US 2.5 years ago to better support growth in our customers in the US and Canada directly from within the area. So all of our design and manufacturing is still done in Germany with sales and support for the US and Canada out of Boston. And so I started when we started the office 2.5 years ago with the mission to expand our opportunities here and enhance our customer service and that kind of thing.
Good. So with you being so closely related to customer service and customer experience, how has the change in technology and AI and just the digital footprint has affected the expectations of customers now?
I think just people are seeing more possibilities to utilize AI to accomplish the measurement goals that they need, but they still need great hardware to get the data that AI could then analyze for them. So we still see a lot of need we see people using 2D cameras, visual cameras, but also on the 3D side, they can more quickly develop their algorithms to compare the results they're getting to common defects. And so that's where we see a lot of people using AI, and it's just helping them more develop their measurements, sharpen their measurements more and more quickly.
So like the accuracy.
Yeah, they can.
Has there been any type of like digital efforts or automation efforts that you guys have tried and they just like really did not go well, and then you had to like pivot and go back to a more traditional way of doing things?
I mean, not that I can remember experiencing with a customer on that side. I'm trying to think about the way we use AI ourselves. I mean, we started with a chatbot on our website that was trained on our documentation to help people answer questions. When it started, it did not do a great job. It helped a little bit, but it couldn't quite answer the questions. Now it is really so much better. It can answer, it brings you to the right answer. It can do it in multiple languages, and it's bringing you to the right links. It's not just kind of sending you off into nowhere. And so that's a project on our marketing side I can talk to about the AI adoption, that it took a few iterations, but now it's really, really good.
Yeah, what else do you guys use AI for on the marketing side of things?
Like probably everybody, maybe to sharpen ideas or maybe do as a first start to ideas, and then kind of fueling the conversation to make sure we're also using our own creativity in combination with some support of it. So just if we make a lot of videos, so we might use it as a starting point for a script or some topics, but then it doesn't get it quite right or it doesn't exactly say what we want to say, but it gets you a good starting point, and then we can personalize it ourselves.
Yeah, that's we talk about that a lot in our agency because we are an AI-driven digital marketing agency. And even though AI is making our lives a lot easier and as far as client deliverables and all that stuff, but it has not replaced human creativity.
Yeah. And it can start to sound too generic if you use it too much. You're like, well, we're not really, and we're trying to stand out. Like you mentioned, that the point is standing out in a competitive marketplace. We don't want to sound like everybody else, and nobody does. So you got to really add that unique language touch explanation in there.
What is your competitive edge? How do you stand out in such a competitive landscape?
So we are a really small player compared to a lot of huge competitors. And so we stand out in a couple different ways. One is we offer full customization. A lot of people come to us when they've tried some of the catalog products from our competitors. It doesn't quite work. They need a little something different. We can quickly customize. We have a very adaptable platform that lets you do it with no NRE, lets you do it quickly. So we've kind of designed from the start with an open platform, open mechanically and open software wise, so that people have access to everything. Nothing's closed off. So we're ideal in a lot of applications where there's just a little something different needed.
How do those clients find you?
Typically our website and like the traditional Google search, trade shows, that's kind of still the main way. And we're trying to optimize now our website for AI searches and those kind of things.
How's that going? Because generative search engines are huge right now. So instead of like keywords, focusing more on prompts. How's that been going for you guys? Have you been trying some things? What kind of results have you been seeing?
We're just starting a big initiative on it, and we'll be working on it for the rest of this year. We needed to seek some outside help to do that because it wasn't simple.
Yeah. It's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When did you guys start with that initiative?
Maybe only a month ago.
Okay, really, so brand new.
Brand new, really focusing on that. Yeah, noticing that we had redone our website over a year ago. It looks great, has amazing content, and we were not getting the traffic we expected. It just didn't make sense when we looked at ours compared to our competitors, that kind of thing, for just how much information we were adding, what was on there. And so we knew we needed to do some of the back end work probably to help people find us and get that content.
It's so much more work than people realize when it comes.
You think it's writing great content and then it will work, and making the graphics look amazing. We had all that and it wasn't enough.
Nobody was finding you.
Yeah,
the findability. I always like to talk about this with people. It's the findability. Like, is your website actually optimized from a content standpoint and from a navigation standpoint based on what Google will actually rank it as good content that is easy to find?
Yeah, and that changes. What worked a couple of years ago for that is not the same today. So you could have learned it years ago and it's not the same anymore. So
no, and how people search, like Google was the main player for the longest time. He was the only guy around.
Yeah.
But now there's like 6 of them and 7 of them.
And people might go right to ChatGPT or right to an AI site and use that as a search engine instead now. So
yeah. Absolutely. And now that you started this initiative, what are you seeing as one, like a tricky part or maybe one of the top challenges that you're seeing in the process?
Nothing I can think of as a specific challenge, just we were surprised by some of the keywords and some of the phrases and prompts we should optimize for what people are searching for, but and just really shifting some of our optimization around that, but nothing, no big roadblocks yet. But like I said, we're just getting started, so I'm sure there'll be something.
Yeah, you just hired a partner to do that, so it takes some time for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And then as far as like traditional forms of marketing, like what are you guys still focusing on that you think will never die for you?
What we focus a lot on, of course, there's the website content, but the general concept is trying to make our product easy to understand and easy to use, because 3D and 3D measurements especially are challenging. It's not a simple thing to get the setup right, analyze the data correctly, all of those things. Our overarching goal, make it as understandable and easy as possible. And some people want to read that in a white paper, read it in a manual, receive it in a video, have it on a webinar. So we just try to do all of those things, provide the information the best way, clearly on every channel option, so people can receive it the way they want to. So if we make a video and it has great explanation, we also make a white paper, we also put it on the website. However you best learn, it's available to you. And I think there'll always be people who like to receive the information in different ways when they're trying to learn something and understand something.
That's one thing that I'm hearing a lot of manufacturing companies say, and B2B, it's like finding new ways to actually demonstrate their product in a way that is going to be in line with all these cool digital AI based innovations, and how people like not only search but what they view as something as a modern way of displaying the products that they have. I had recently a guest on the podcast, and they do lights. So they're starting to create holograms in order to actually demonstrate their products in trade shows.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, when you make a component, it's hard to, you have to visualize an application, or it doesn't really translate exactly what the benefits are or what you're doing. And so you have to be very creative in showing it in use or in some interesting way to get people excited.
Especially for 3D, like, that's the whole thing about like the 3D power is creating something just based by typing in some information. It's like, ta-da, here you go. Yeah. That's really cool. Like, what do you think is one of the biggest opportunities that are coming up in your industry? It doesn't have to be marketing or digital related, but just like what is some opportunities that are coming your way in the near future that you're really excited about?
I think as far as our technology, adoption of 3D in general is growing. People want not just in quality control in all sorts of industries. They want not just a picture, but to have that depth information, to have that height information. And so that's a great trend for us in general. And then just how that is expanding to all these different applications, things that, this surprised me, like in food, how much more automation is going to that. And then having 3D added on top of that for a variety of things, for inspection of the goods, for robot guidance on the way that goods are packaged, all the steps there. There's been a lot of work in logistics and parcel management that now they want 3D of all the boxes, not just a 2D photo. And so just a general trend of that further enhanced data. The more information they can get on just any good passing through an automated system, they want all of it, as much data as possible.
Is there any type of clients that you guys will not work with?
I mean, the 3D measurements that we work on take motion. Either the parts have to move or the sensor has to move. And so there can be 3D applications where they just want to do a snapshot of the object and get a 3D in one shot. There's things like that that this technology is just not designed for. We really just have the one type of 3D technique. So there's that. But no, we go from people using it outdoor, scanning roads and railways, and then in steel manufacturing, so to the dirtiest environments, to food and pharmaceutical, to the cleanest environments. So it really expands all of those.
So interesting. Technology is just really shaping so many aspects of our life, eh?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Let's say 5 years from now, where do you see the company growing? Like, in which direction? Like, how do you see you guys evolving over the next 5 years?
I think that continued adoption of AI and integration will make the products easier and easier to use and make it faster for us to do development. I would think there's generic growth areas of faster and more resolution and those things. Those are always needed. But I think probably the biggest area is just to continue to make it easier and easier to adopt and integrate 3D as fast as possible. And maybe it means, integrating more different types of imagery to enhance the images. I don't know, maybe adding color cameras or something else to just do more with fewer components, things like that is always a trend.
That's awesome. Is there a threat in the industry or a trend that you can identify for you guys?
Something that has been surprising as we keep talking about AI is some of the things that used to require 3D measurements now can be done with a couple of 2D cameras that are less expensive and a well-trained AI model. and they can do a lot of defect detection, a lot of defect measurement with comparisons and that. So that's a small threat in some industries, I would say, but so far.
But overall, really helpful. A very helpful. Lots of opportunity.
Yeah. So far we see increased adoption versus
That's awesome. I do have I guess like one last question for you, because you did mention that you guys just recently invested in, content strategy and getting up to date with all of that, even though you did a website and it was great, but it wasn't doing anything for you. I think a lot of people that we talk to here and still, they're kind of hesitant about investing in their online presence. Can you maybe share an insight as to what made you guys decide to go ahead and do it, and any piece of advice for people who are thinking that they don't need it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think yes, the information you can get from AI is a good start. From an AI search, for instance, is a good starting point, but you're always going to want to go to the website for the company. It helps you dig deeper then once you're interested to find more information. And I mean, I know for me personally, that's my first entrance into any company. And if they don't make a good impression then you walk away immediately. You're not going to call, you're not going to email. If you can't clearly understand what they do on the website, you already get a sense this is not going to be an easy company to work with. I wouldn't be able to make a case why you wouldn't want to prioritize the website. I'd rather prioritize the website than go to trade shows, for instance. That's like such a much wiser investment. There's so many people viewing that's so many people's first introduction to the company, and their first sense were spread out all over the world. And I don't know how else you get that sense of who you're working with and what they do and how it could work without that.
Yeah. Especially for a company like yours with big competitors and trying to stand out, like that, what you mentioned about being able to customize things a lot more compared to other big companies, like that must be one of your biggest selling points.
Yeah. And if you're going to convince somebody that's worth considering and that they could trust you with, making a product they're going to rely on in their system, I think if the website looked really outdated and didn't work well, why would you trust the technical abilities of the company? Yes, it's different technical knowledge, but it just connects to giving you trust, starting that trust relationship with the company.
Yeah, especially as people search more and more for solutions online across different type of platforms, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gretchen. This was super lovely.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay, bye.
Thanks, bye.